Welcome to the EQ Video Tip. I'm your host, Eric Forsetter. As always, thank you so much for joining us for another terrific show. Before we jump in, let's review the goals of EQ Video Tip. Welcome back. What's on tap for today? We're going to learn from Marcel Schwantes about habits that will make you super productive during the day. And we all want to be super productive when we start our day. So these tips are going to be things that we should do in the morning as one of our first or second routines. Obviously, our mornings can get busy with kids, morning meetings, calls that we didn't expect. But if we can protect some of those things or do these things before the day gets started, hopefully it will help us to get that day to become even more productive than we normally would. Let's jump into some of the tips right now. Tip number one, meditate. We talk about this all the time, but meditation is so important. If you can spend 15 minutes just meditating to calm the mind and get it focused, it increases your brain's gamma waves and it allows you to focus, which has been associated with attention, memory, learning, and happiness. So it's so important to meditate if you can for 15 minutes early in the day. If you can't, try it for 5. Even for 2 minutes with some breathing exercises will have you completely focused and energized for the rest of the day. Tip number 2, get insights and learn something, or learn and be curious, because according to research by a psychologist named Dacher Keltner, he found that people who are listening and learning early in the day and they take the time to learn from other people are actually engendering trust within those people and learning more, as well as getting the ability to expand their knowledge and their learning mindset. So it's so important to get early morning learning in and be curious to make sure you're either reading something or reading a book, reading the news, listening to a podcast, or even listening to the EQ Video Tip. But doing something early to learn will help you to get the rest of your day more productive. Tip number 3, have an opening work ritual that makes you productive. What do you do in the first 30 to 60 minutes of your day? Think about it from like a sports analogy. How do teams start their day or their practice to get everybody warmed up, loosened, ready to go? The same thing for your brain, whether you're working out in a gym or you're working out your mind. How do you make yourself most productive? Look at your calendar, especially for the upcoming week, and give yourself the top priorities that you want to work on, and then work through those so that you can get yourself organized and ready to go. Hopefully that will help you in terms of your productivity. Our next tip, and this one we talk about a lot as well, avoid email, like those types of distractions, and of course social media early in the morning, because when you open your inbox, game over. Everybody just is flooding on you and you don't have a chance to get to the real work and you get sucked into something else. So you need to take time to deal with what you're working on in terms of those big projects. And if you get those emails, you'll have this urgent request that you have to work on. So do you need to return a phone call early that morning, or can you put your phone on maybe airplane mode for the first 30 minutes so that you're not looking at email and you're focused on the productivity that you need to get done? Our last tip, and this goes for the managers too, drop those morning meetings. The morning meetings are time sucks and they also are energy buzz kills, because what happens is in those morning meetings you have people who are creative juice, turbocharged, ready to go, and our high octane productivity time is focused on a meeting as opposed to getting the work done. So wait for those meetings later in the day if you can, to allow people who are all ready to go and have all those creative juices flowing, that they can get that accomplished early on, as opposed to sitting in a meeting and wasting their energy on the meeting as opposed to productivity during that hour. Hopefully that helps. That's a wrap for this week's EQ Video Tip. Hopefully you enjoyed these tips. Again, please take them and make them yours. And here's a quick recap of what we talked in this week's EQ Video Tip. Thanks again for watching. So that concludes our EQ video tip for today.
try incorporating some of these tips into your daily routine. But remember, use what works best for you and personalize it for yourself. Thank you always to our great research team for providing us with some great tips today. As always on EQ Video Tip, we want to end with gratitude. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Here are some resources that you can use if you want more information on EQ going forward. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you.